It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm fine. Yesterday, I spent some time at the curriculum department of the Ministry of Education, and I learned so much. They are doing a lot of work there, constantly vetting the sort of materials that our children in Lagos State read. And if you hear the stories, I mean, I just wanted to give a shout out to them. Well done for all of your hard work. I know this because, of course, I'm trying to make sure that my books get to public schools. You cannot take any material to public schools in Lagos without it being vetted by the curriculum.
Wow. The things that happen, people don't know. And it gets really upsetting when Nigerians, especially Nigerians as well. But this is Nigeria, they just have no clue. And because we're so used to just condemning everything government. Everything's not good. And I mean, I met somebody who said that if she knew then what she knew now before entering the government, she would know that you come with a different strategy. People in government, there's processes in government. It works, but just that sometimes some people cut corners, you know. But if we can get a system to actually make it work, trust me, there's a system in place that actually functions. Well done, Mariam.
Awesome.
How are you being, Tokwe?
I'm good.
Your earrings.
Hey, what usually happens has happened. So, yeah, used to be. Everybody should be used to it, but now I'm not an earring person, so we'll be fine.
That's how my Emma is too.
So I was listening to a message this morning, and it just, perspectives are very important, how we see things, and we need to train ourselves as Nigerians to see possibilities, as in it's a training. A conversation yesterday made me realize that all of us, we are social constructs here culturally. We blur the line of integrity. I was quarreling with an affiliate that this place is not Chevron, this place is Awuyaya. He said, oh, let's just call it Chevron. People know Chevron. It is not. So, like, we've gotten so used to bending the rules that we no longer understand what is integrity anymore. So we need to start redefining and doing a social reconstruction of how we want to see ourselves, how we want to project ourselves. And it starts with this integrity thing. It starts with us seeing possibilities, and I hear you, and I don't just doubt you first. I trust you first because I believe that there's positivity within you.
I have to earn it to trust you first.
Yeah, we've been bruised, battered as a country. The citizens have been so I can understand. That's why I understand where the citizens are coming from. So the government have to really go above and beyond to prove that listen. And they do it in little. You have to do it in little things.
Are you sure we're not projecting ourselves? Yeah. You know, because when it's not a hot topic, but when people saw when the 12 spies went to the Promised Land, some people said we're like ants, and other people felt like we can go and take the country. So sometimes we're projecting our insecurities.
Bring the show.
Not the same thing, but
I'm doing great. I was at the hospital yesterday.
What happened?
I wasn't feeling too good. I've been having this consistent. It's not malaria.
I learned it yesterday. So
I've been having this consistent headache. So I went to the hospital. They checked. They said they didn't see anything. Madam, just rest. Yeah, good. You know, my son, too, it was his birthday yesterday. He was at the hospital with me because his chest was blocked. So we had to take him to the hospital. And I said, don't worry, your party's coming, okay? We didn't do the 10 because of COVID, but we're definitely going to shut down the 11.
That's my son. Happy birthday yesterday, but I don't know, we couldn't reach out to you guys.
Network and all that.
So
thank you. Thank you so much. Miriam called, too. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, so the boat cruise is coming this weekend.
Yes.
So we're going to be hanging out on the boats this Saturday. We'd like you to come and join us, you know. It'd be fun. I think the numbers of the contact person should be on the screen very, very shortly. And you can reach out to TVC to get your tickets. We'd love to see all of you join us on Saturday. I think it's 3 p.m. To hang out with us at the boat cruise. We can't wait to have you.
With your loved ones.
All right, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we'll start with The Nation. Pressure on Buhari to reject reworked electoral bill. NNPC subsidiary links scarcity to withdrawal of toxic petrol. Alleged 2.9 billion naira fraud. Court orders EFCC to stop all actions against Okorocha. Southern governors resolute on power shift, says Akeredolu. Senate okays 6 additional law schools campuses. And Lagos Blue Line is 85% ready, says Lamata MD. Charges dropped against hotelier others over the OAU student's death. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The Senate, they have passed a bill to increase the number of Nigerian law school campuses in the country from 7 to 13. The bill was titled A Bill for an Act to Amend the Legal Education Consolidation Act. And they're going to be establishing campuses for the Nigerian Law School and other related matters. It was sponsored by the Kogi West Senator Smart Adeyemi. So according to the bill, campuses of the Nigerian Law School and their locations include Buhari Law School Campus, FCT Abuja, Kaba Central, Jos Law School, Plateau State, North Central, Yola Law School Campus, Adamawa Northeast, Maiduguri Law School Campus, Borno State Northeast, Lagos Law School Campus, Ilawe Law School Campus, Ekiti State. They also added a Kanu Law School Campus, Northwest, Agungu Law School Campus, Kebbi State, Enugu Law School Campus, Enugu State, Southeast, Okija Law School Campus, Southeast, Yenegua Law School Campus, Bayelsa State, Port Harcourt Law School Campus, Rivers State, Orogun Law School Campus, Delta State, South. And one of the reasons, they said that they are going to establish at least 2 law school campuses in the 6 geopolitical zones. And one of the reasons they are doing this is to ensure that because there's usually this backlog of law graduates who graduate from Nigerian universities and even from countries outside the country, and they do not have the facilities. There's this backlog. They keep them awaiting time to get into the law schools. But if they establish these law schools in all the geopolitical zones, they will have enough infrastructure to take in all of the law graduates.
So, go ahead, Maria.
The pressure on President Muhammadu Buhari to reject the reworked electoral bill. And this is because there are many amendments to the bills that is not convenient for the political parties. So the APC and PDP are both not in support of this bill. They want it to be rejected. The bill is stipulating that commissioners, any political office holder, you have to resign before you can contest, and then also you are not allowed to vote in your primaries. You stand by. You're only observing the primaries process. Also, the political parties need to submit their presidential candidate, their candidates by 6 months before. So there are many things that seem good for us politically, as in for our democracy. This bill has parts that will strengthen our democracy, but doesn't seem so good for our politicians. And that's my interpretation of the pressure on the president not to sign. People are now saying that the president should sign if he has the interest of the nation at heart. He should sign it based on its merits to strengthen our democracy, and not because political parties are feeling it's not comfortable for them. And
well, those against it are saying that the bill, they're anchoring their arguments on the fact that the bill is anti-democratic and discriminatory. It has discriminatory clauses. I don't know where that comes from. But let me quickly take the story. Or go ahead,
yes, so the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt has directed EFCC to stop all actions against the former Imo State Governor, Rochas Okorocha. Remember, I took the story last week. I had to take this one. His lawyer had submitted that EFCC was going against an earlier judgment that asked them to return all his international passports and all his travel documents. They said EFCC hasn't only not done that, but they brought the case again to court, meaning they just totally disregarded the court's judgment, the earlier judgment, and that is disrespect of the court. And so the court has said they should stop all actions against the governor. But the lawyer to EFCC says that that they have only received the application on Monday, and that they had asked Okorocha to come and collect his travel documents and his international passport, but he did not go to collect it. Anyway, I think the court did not believe them and says that it's disappointed in their behavior and they should stop all actions against them.
All right, so the Southern governors yesterday in Akure, the governor of Ondo State met with the members of the power rotation movement, which constitutes of quite a number of people. I think the Ohanes, quite a number of them. And they were reaffirming their decision at the Asaba Declaration, if you recall, and the meeting they had in Lagos and in Enugu, saying that power must move to the south, regardless. Although and Dr. Bukola Saraki, who is of the PDP and from the north, was saying that we shouldn't focus on zoning, we should just focus on competence. And Governor Akarido said, at this point, there are competent people in the south, and we shouldn't even think of the north to have the rotation at this time, if indeed you want to keep the nation as one. Moving on to the Punch, FG may return fuel to suppliers, 100 million litres affected, says marketers. Human part uncovered in Oyo building, police arrest suspects. Ex-JAMB registers 6 peaceful settlement of 5 billion naira fraud case. Field Northern presidential candidate lose election, says Akeredolu. Senate approves 7 new law schools, campuses rise to 14. OAU student police released charges against Adedoyin workers in Oshun. Bandits raid Katsina communities for hours, kill 13. And subscribers grown as Galaxy Backbone battles portal breakdown. All right. Which story?
Okay, I have the Katsina story. So terrorists have been reported to have killed no fewer than 13 people in 3 communities in Katsina local government, in Bokori and Funtua local government of Katsina state. They said this happened on Monday, about 1 a.m. They came in, shooting sporadically, looted shops and houses. One of the village heads, Abdullah Umar, was abducted. Apart from those who were killed, he was abducted. His son said that about 1 a.m. he heard the shooting, and his father, and he got up, to leave his room, and he saw his father heading out towards the shooting. And next thing, his father was brought back by the bandits. They came, they looted their houses and took his father away. And they left with them, of course, trail of dead bodies. The Katsina State Police Relations Officer has confirmed the incidents but did not give any details. He says it is true and security operatives are on top of the situation.
Right.
This is so sad. This is just another week, another number of people dead and
just
people
like
abducted, just like that.
In a related story, so residents in the community in Oyo town have uncovered activities of suspected ritualists in an uncompleted building area. So the residents started perceiving a foul odor coming from a particular location, and then they went ahead to search. Initially, they thought it was maybe excreta. And then when they got there, they discovered that this uncompleted building had a lot of dead, decomposing bodies. They first of all found a hand that was decomposing already, and so they reported the matter to the police station. The police came in, started investigations. Some residents were saying that there's this particular young man who usually comes to that area with a shovel. He rides a bike, so they always see him shoving something in that uncompleted building. So they felt probably he was clearing the debris. So somebody said they knew the father of the bike owner, and that was how they had to arrest some suspects. Investigations are ongoing. The residents are saying that they don't want this matter to be covered up because, according to one of them, they said they saw a child's school uniform in that place, and the police did not allow them to take pictures of all the decomposing human parts that they saw. This may just be another case of people killing. They said the bodies have been there for a very long time, so this has been ongoing for that long.
How we talk about
should not be covered
bodies and then as if it was savages.
I was going to take the major headline. I'll just touch on it. Those are a hot topic today. So the federal government have confirmed the contamination of part of our fuel. According to them, about 100 million liters have been affected. And they've isolated, they've traced the source, and it's been isolated. And they've withdrawn it from the market, including even the loaded trucks that have it, so which is a good thing. And they said that the source supply has also been apprehended, and they're going to ensure that every other person are able to push petrol into the market so that we don't have scarcity anymore. But we might have some issues of scarcity towards the weekend as they're trying right now to push out the clean petrol. However, some experts in energy law, Professor Dayo Ayode, who has said that, listen, aside from the petrol, there are other bigger issues. And the big issue is the contaminated fuel have to be disposed, and that's going to affect the environment. Not even the cost, the environmental impact of deposing these is also going to should be considered. And Falan has also said that those who have been affected should be compensated. So, and there's another argument that even the supplier, the international supplier, should also be brought to book in this. So there are various layers of this as usual. But we have to see what's going to be done about it. Okay, let's go on a quick break. Yeah, one more so quickly.
Yeah. Galaxy Backbone Limited, which is like the hosting service platform for NIMC, that's the NIN registration platform, has been down for 9 days now, which means that there's no registration going on, there's no process, there's no way to verify anybody's NIN or retrieve their number. They say there's been meeting going on every day.
Yeah.
to resolve it, and they haven't found a resolution to it. But that has a major impact on the telcos, and I'm waiting to see what the Minister for Minister for Information. There's a minister in charge of communication and technology.
Pantami and all
this. What are they going to say concerning this? Because we can't have.
We've been checking the story since Monday, actually.
Yes.
So
there's no
having meetings
resolution.
and nothing has been resolved so far. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, move on to other papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on to Vanguard. Car engines damaged as FG marketers recall bad fuel. Why FG's trial of high-profile cases fails, CGN replies Malami. Gunmen killed 21 in Imo and Katsina. APC crisis surmountable, says Boni. Visitors' visa applications to experience longer processing time, says UK. Murder of OAU student, police withdraw charges against Adedoyin and others. 2023, any party with northern candidates will lose, says southern governors. And presidential committee wants moratorium on creation of new agencies. Okay.
Government.
Go ahead.
OAU students. So we recall the story of Adegoke, who is a student, went back to school, was a student, went back to school to write his exams, postgraduate examination, lodged in a particular hotel in Ife, Hilton Hotel in Ife, and Hotel and Resort in Ife, and he died under mysterious circumstances. The case was brought against the owner of the hotel and the staff, and the family of the late Adegoke had been complaining that this might be swept under the carpet. They didn't get enough information. The owner of the hotel is a powerful man, and that they might get away with it. Well, the High Court in Abuja, sitting on the case, has struck out the case because the police withdrew the case. And the reason the police gave for withdrawing the case is because they said they wanted to go back and do further investigation. They said the police said we've decided to discontinue the matter to enable us to conduct further investigations into the murder case, that the murderer is still at large. So I empathize with the family of the victim. There is really we don't want the wrong person to be punished for if they are innocent, but I feel that the case had gone on for a long time. The police should have had this case before taking...
Let me link that to this story, because that was what the CJ was practically saying. It was responding to Malami. Malami was on the station on Monday. And Malami had actually blamed the judiciary for their late and slow process of the law. And CJ responded, said, how are you talking like that? That is the one-sided narrative. And he said that more often than not, federal government's prosecution sector files more charges than they can prove properly, and they don't have an airtight case, which is similar to what you're saying. So, and they bring, that's why some of these cases pile up, because you don't have enough evidence, you don't do proper investigation, and therefore it looks as though that the judiciary isn't doing their work.
To 12 counts.
He said that trial. He said though the Nigerian judiciary was not out to claim to be perfect, but when, let me read this statement perfectly. When lawyers talk, sometimes you have to listen. He said, but when the political and economic conditions under which it is operating is compared with counterparts in other climes, it will be adjudged a prize model. Says we are struggling here. What we are doing, even we're managing ourselves. We're trying.
We are all struggling everywhere. That's Nigeria.
So police and the investigation unit must do their job properly, bring it to the court, and then you can do the process.
You bring a case over a month after you withdraw case.
So they said about 21 persons were reportedly killed by gunmen in Katsina and Imo states yesterday. I said in Katsina state, 13 persons were killed by gunmen who stormed Bakori Funtua axis of Katsina state. Women and children were also kidnapped in that local government. So according to the source, they said terrorists began their operation from Dakuwa village late Monday. They were looting shops. Then they proceeded to another village, Gidan Kanawa, where they killed 3 people. I hope I did not murder this, Miriam.
You didn't. I've taken the story. I took it already in front.
Yes. So let me just go to the Imo one. So this particular young man is a man who broke out of jail. So they said a few days he would just come out, shoot people, and then run back into the bush. They are still trying to arrest him, but
Seriously?
to no avail. So, you know, we had a lot of jailbreaks last year. He was one of the guys that...
Okay, who has the UK story?
Yes.
The visa.
So due to the impact of COVID, standard visiting visa application is now taking averagely 6 weeks to process for UK to go to the UK. They also mentioned that they are extremely, these are extremely, where they are extremely compassionate, compelling circumstances, like a medical emergency, they could expedite it. But standard requests now will take 6 weeks before you can get any reply concerning it because of...
Wait, all right.
They are speeding up recruiting our medical personnel, Morayo.
Yes.
That one is not taking 6 weeks.
Yes.
That one is fast. It is when you are just going to leisure visits that is taking long.
One of my children's pediatricians.
Wants to relocate.
Oh,
God.
That's gone. Yeah,
I said, my daughter was caught the other day, and I said to her, "Great, sir, Doc, what do I do?" Okay, well, it was like, help me. He said, well, I'm in Canada now. I'm like, oh, doctor.
You left me here.
You left me here. Nigerian Tribune also insists on strike, says FG dribbling us. Judiciary not to be blamed for delay in high-profile cases. I took that story. At the presentation of cowries of blood, Alaafin restates call for true federalism. FG wants operators against distortion of sugar master plan. I thought Topper would take that story. FG withdraws adulterated PMS from market. 2023, any party with northern candidates will lose. And Sylvester Oromoni, first autopsy botch, says pathologist. Senate approves 6 new law schools in 6 geopolitical zones. Ogun border communities demand employment quota from customs. Let me take the Oromoni story. Okay, you want to take a story?
No, go ahead with Oromoni.
So the pathologist, Dr. Shokunle Shoyemi, informed the coroner's court. Remember, right now the coroner inquest has started since January 15th, I believe, and he was asked questions about the autopsy. And he said that the autopsy that was originally done in Delta State was botched. According to him, that they couldn't have declared that the boy had intoxication if you don't open the. Let me just take the stories. You didn't open the esophagus. Neither did you open the trachea, which is the air pipe. So it was wrong for them to conclude. Let me say it. I observed the first autopsy was not properly done. All the things that were not properly done were documented according to him. According to him, the first autopsy, the pathologist never opened the esophagus, the food pipe, and did not open the trachea, which is the air pipe. These are vital things you do before, as a start-off. The conclusion in which he says the chemical intoxication is therefore questionable. If one does not open the food path, one cannot talk about chemical intoxication. The chemical that should be injurious to one should pass through esophagus. It should not have been anything near chemical intoxication if it did not pass through esophagus. So he was therefore saying that, you know, the initial pathologist report was faulty.
Lacking, yeah.
However, counsel to the family, Femi Falana, was saying that, who asked you a question about autopsy? Focus on that. You know, you're bringing, he kind of argued it on technicality that that's not the matter that is at hand right now.
Yeah.
We're not discussing the autopsy report. And that was why that's what happened at the courts.
Yeah, we have to discuss everything together.
But you know, it's based on the question the lawyers ask you that you answer. They ask you a question, you answer something else.
ASU is very upset, and they're saying that they will go ahead with the industrial action if government does not meet its demands by Friday. They had a press briefing, both the Lagos State Zone of ASU and the University of Ibadan chapter on Tuesday, where they answered many questions by journalists. And then shortly after that meeting, they went around the university community to sensitize students and other workers on why they have to go on strike at this time. They say that the union and its members had sacrificed much for both the nation's public university system and the country at large by denying themselves of desirable things due to them as being enjoyed by their colleagues elsewhere globally, and have now been pushed to the wall. They say that the president's promise to ASU on the pages of the newspapers and television when religious leaders visited him has no weight, and his government is not ready to do the needful. And unless something is done by Friday, they're going on strike. They just, they said that there's so many things on ground right now that the government needs to address, and he has not even said anything about it. They said that the federal government is still owing varsities about 880 billion on revitalization of universities, and also refused to mainstream earned academic allowances in the 2022 budget as promised. And they feel that this is a strategy that this present administration is just deliberately refusing to attend to the issues, and it's been 4 years, since they started this conversation.
Wow.
Okay, we have to wrap up.
Yeah. So the Customs Area Controller of Ogun, One Command Controller Dera Nnamdi, visited some traditional rulers in Ogun State and also the governor Dapo Abiodun, while he was soliciting support to combat smuggling and a lot of attacks on security operatives. So they reeled out some of the challenges that the community, especially the border communities, are facing, which he said included lack of federal presence in terms of infrastructure and development, unemployment of youths, and the request to, so the traditional rulers now requested that the customs create a quota system for children of the border communities in their recruitment exercises so that they can generate more employment for them. That may help to solve some of the issues of insecurity. And then he went ahead to give the scorecard of all the things that they had been seizing, from the rice to the cars to the drugs, and just in their numbers.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So very recently, we saw a video that was quite disturbing of a little boy drinking, I think it's a Radler's beer bottle. Yeah, beer. I mean, yeah. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, why is this child? He's probably, what, 6 years old, and then obviously someone that looked like a mother or a guardian and an adult, 2 adults were right behind him dancing. And I was shocked, personally. But then when I shared with other people, they were saying, oh, certain parts of Nigeria, they give their children alcohol, it's normal. And I'm thinking, where was I? I never heard this. This is my first time. And I just think it's something we should have a conversation about, especially because lots of teenagers, so this young 6-year-old who grew up to be teenagers, and then start all these vices. So there are more vices. We have one, there's a sex tape that leaked recently. There's more of a ritual killing. You want to get rich because you want to sustain that lifestyle of the largesse, drinking alcohol, the big houses, So these are the foundations of some of what we see today. And sometimes if we don't talk about it and hear people's perspective on maybe on options and how to do it, we might not have a way forward. So let us hear your thoughts on this. And I'd like to hear the thoughts of the ladies. Where did we get it wrong, and how is it normal? Is it okay for children to have alcohol? I mean, I've never heard of it before. But let's I'd like to hear from this. If there's indeed a community in this country that gives children alcohol, I would like to hear from you today. Kindly call the numbers on your screen, because it would be great to understand the rationale, the reasoning behind such act. Kindly call our usual numbers. It's on the screen. 081 270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC, hashtag YourViewTVC. Send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to read your messages.
Obviously, it is wrong for children to take alcohol. And I think that people don't understand. So let's just first start by the fact that let's educate people. Why is it wrong for you as a child or for you to allow children take alcohol? Because I've been in a party where someone drinking alcohol and a child comes and wants to take the drink, the canned drink, and they say, oh, let him take a sip. And the reaction was, hello, this is not a sign of showing love.
To the child.
The research has it that it can damage a child's internal organ, brain development if they are exposed to alcohol when they are small. If a pregnant woman that drinks alcohol would definitely affect the child's development space and brain capacity. So it is not a sentimental or marketing gimmick. Children shouldn't take alcohol. That's it.
So let me just go to your basic Google. You know, it tells you that alcohol is a depressant that affects the brain by causing the brain to slow down. Alcohol can affect your child's brain, which continues development into the early 20s. Alcohol can negatively impact on your child's problem-solving skills and performance at school. And says that alcohol depresses the central nervous system and causes low blood glucose. Children who drink alcohol can have seizures, coma, and even die.
Let me add, because you also talked about all the other things that are happening around us right now with young children. They say if a young child drinks alcohol, they're more likely to be involved in violence, suicidal thoughts and attempts, more sexual partners, pregnancy, using drugs, employment problems, and drunk driving. So there is a reason for some of the things that we're seeing today. Things that we looked away, we thought it was funny, oh, that's how our people do it. And then today we're screaming and shouting, where are these people from? Who raised them? You raised them.
Yes.
And you raised them like that. So I don't know what part of our country encourages alcohol drinking and drinking it like that. I know some cultures, maybe they put a finger in the alcohol and put a little tip. I don't know where they give them a whole bottle to be drinking in the presence of everybody. You're taking a video. So I'm calling out the adults that were in that place. There's the woman dancing beside him who may have been his mom or a guardian. There's another woman that joined her. And then the person taking the video. I know it was good to sort of highlight what was happening, but at any point in time, did that person call out the mom?
Or take the alcohol.
Take that alcohol from, well, maybe you're not allowed to talk to the child directly. Call the person in charge of that child and say, this is wrong. Your child should not be taking alcohol. And there should be a right for an adult to even take alcohol away from a child. Right. I mean, it was so shocking. That child was drinking it with...
And dancing.
Yes.
And had a jury, remember? He had a jury.
Yes, he had lots of bling. So you have models your child around adult entertainers and that we see, American entertainers that we see, your baby that has a lot more to do with his life, his brain that he's supposed to use to get
Did you even take note of the big chain the young boy was
That's
wearing?
What we're saying.
Yes, he dressed like one of these
Americans.
So let me hinge this on ignorance and a lack of understanding.
Absolutely.
However, whether you are ignorant or not, you will still be judged for your actions. And every action has its consequences.
Yeah.
The villages that I know growing up that they used to give, the children a little bit of alcohol. It's not like they allow them drink bottles, but it's a way of life for that particular area. Just, put a drop in the child. They are doing it because they do not have the understanding of the effects of alcoholism and alcohol. We see how adults behave when they are drunk. When you drink, your senses are suspended. A lot of things can happen to you, you are not aware. You allow a lot of things happen to you and you are not aware. Do we want our children to suspend their senses when they're supposed to be developing those senses? So those are some of the critical questions we need to ask. And also, it's on us. I like the fact that we're discussing this topic today for people who are not aware to become aware. But it's also on us to, look out for each other. Society to look out for each other. Those days, growing up, if you misbehave as a child, a neighbor will pick you up, cane you very well, and drag you home. They will be asking, Onye. That means, who gave birth to this child? They will not allow you misbehave outside and bring shame to your parents. But right now, we just pick a video, a phone, and then we video and we post on social media. I think we as a society, we need to do more. Because a lot of these people do not understand the long-term effects of what they are doing. Some of the things we even eat today has a long-term effect on our body. When we begin to pass this message that alcohol is not for children, it's not even for teenagers. Till you become an adult, you are responsible for yourself. Then you choose whether you want to drink or not drink, and you know how you want to drink it.
Yes.
But if we allow in the name of enjoyment, because that party seemed like everybody was grooving, the adult beside looks like the mother, actually. And she was just dancing, and the boy was just having fun. In their mind, we have enjoyed today. That is wrong.
You see, I looked at this child, cute, chubby boy. I'm thinking to myself, this boy will now grow up. No fault of his.
Yes.
He didn't ask to come to this to this world. This little cute boy, he's now drinking beer, and he's going to be growing up, become a teenager.
Yes.
And he's going to see alcohol as an important thing to show to show fun and excitement. I've arrived.
Having fun.
And I'm feeling bad for the child. I'm thinking, oh my God.
Mariah, we do something. Whenever we see a good act, we make it go viral. We search for the
good or bad
person. When we see a good act, we make it go viral. There's a video that went viral of someone that was giving, the hawker that was giving money to people in the Black Maria. And they found the man. We've seen many times that they say, we must find this girl. We must find this girl. You see this woman, we saw her face clearly. We must find this woman. We must find this woman. We must find this woman. And it's not just about educating her. It's about making her an example. Because when we don't chastise what is wrong, this child is your citizen, is a citizen of Nigeria. It will either become a problem or a solution to Nigeria in the future. So Nigeria needs to take responsibility for its children by ensuring parents don't use their own ignorance to raise crisis for children.
I was hoping that child wasn't Nigerian. I thought it wasn't Nigeria. I was really hoping that when the music, but it was Nigerian music. But they play Nigerian music everywhere in the world. So it may not be Nigerian.
Nigerian boy.
I really don't think so.
But you can marry a Nigerian. Like, he's a human child, and we don't even want any child.
No, but when you said about Nigerian child, maybe they're not like that. They're not like that.
No, we are.
Let's go to break.
There are other videos.
We'll come back. We'd like to take some phone calls and messages. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this issue that is quite bothersome. And the reason why we're talking about it is because we need clarity. We need to educate each other, as BC had said. If we have ignorant people out there, we're hoping that this show can open the minds and hearts of people. Let's take a few messages before we continue.
Okay, so Temi Tokbe says, this is absolutely wrong for a young child. God, where are we going? Corey Williams says, I beg, they should leave the parents. The parent knows what she's doing. Oluwatimileyin says, this is what minding your business has caused. Simon Rose says, now so nothing do us by the grace of God, but now I don't even go near it. Wisdom is profitable, that's alcohol. Margaret Pell says, there is a condition called alcohol fetal syndrome, and this can be further compounded by psychosis, delusion, and depression. Best to avoid alcohol when pregnant, please.
Okay, so I think, was it Nima that says it all the time, that all these don't mind your business is what got us to where we are, where everybody just doesn't want to intrude. Let me take Dr. Moyo. Dr. Moyo, are you there? Hello, Dr. Moyo, you're live. Hello, Dr. Moyo. I think we're having connection issues. I mean, I've always shared this story, and I've always...
Hello?
Yeah, Dr. Moyo, go ahead, please. You're live.
Hello?
We can hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow. Yes, we can
Hello?
hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you very clearly.
Maya? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Oh,
all right, so as I said, I mean, I have shared this story where I said I came out from Ajashed then many years ago, and I had very long braids. I was feeling like I was 8 years old. 8. I had this they touched my bum, and I was feeling very, very pretty, fly, you know. And I showed my mom. My mom was looking at me. She was suspicious. She was just wondering, why would you come home with this? But because I was with my dad and my stepmom and everything, she didn't say anything. So I went to my neighbor's house, Mrs. Adeshokon. I'll never forget that day. I went and I was excited to go and show her my long hair. She looked at me. She didn't even smile. She just went to get a pair of scissors and cut it. I had lipstick on. She cleaned it off. Are you okay? You're 8 years old.
What are you doing?
But then I went back to my other house, my mom's going to see my mom. My mom was like, hey, good for you. Good for you. Because she felt good that she didn't do it, but she knew that somebody helped her to do it. So, because then at that time, we can actually see a child do wrong and kind of, not that braids are wrong, but it's just the perspective like this. You're young. It's too early. Start thinking of fashion and love your long hair. You don't need it. It's not a bad thing. There's time for everything.
Yeah, so Mariah, what I notice is that children are actually curious about alcohol if you drink it in their presence.
Yeah.
They ask you questions like, Mommy, why are you drinking this?
Yeah.
What's in this? Why don't you want me to drink this? Now, the thing is, how do you now have a conversation with that child to explain that this is not for you? So what I do is I try to say, there's time for everything.
Absolutely.
You're still a child. There are certain things that I cannot let you do right now. You see how you behave when you drink, take a lot of sweet drinks, sugar. Sugar gets you high. And my children are naturally high. Their mother is naturally high. I don't need anything to make me high. Just wake up and I'm high. And I just imagine adding alcohol on top of my natural highness. That's crazy. So I try to explain to them. We sit down and have conversations. And then they ask me questions like, okay, what age should I start drinking alcohol? I say, what's the rush? Why do you want to start now? When you become an adult, you can take charge of your life. Then you decide if you want it or not. And you know that there are some uncles and aunties who do not even take it at all. So we need to constantly have these conversations, because if you do not have it and explain to them the side effects of this alcohol, they will go out. You don't know where they are going to most of the time. They could start having it and hiding the bottles. And do not send them to return the bottles for you. If you have visitors over and they have alcohol, they can drain it. They can
let me take this call from Uju. Uju, are you there? Hello, Uju from Enugu. I think our phone lines have issues today. Good morning, Uju. Are you there? Okay, go ahead, it's okay.
I also think that another approach to take towards this is to help children understand that it is not you not giving them those privileges, is to protect them. And I've said this several times, that no matter how much you love your child, you will not carry the key to your car and give to your child to drive. It's not about love. It's about protecting that child. That's the same way it is with alcohol. If you give your child alcohol, you're not protecting the child's future. You're not protecting the child's capacity to think and become a productive adult. Now, as a society, we definitely have evolved from the culture of taking ownership of everybody's child around us. And that's why we must, as intelligent adults, start building our own unique tribe. So I know I can correct BC's children. I know BC will correct my children. I know Brian will correct my children. I don't have any. And I must ensure that I keep my children in that circle. As much as possible, I can only advise another person's parents, but I can't correct another person's child. We no longer live in that society. So we must now create that ecosystem for our own people, so that the influence that your child is absorbing from other people around you will be less. It will be more of your kind of values.
So BC mentioned ignorance, which I think is very, very important, because sometimes the reason ignorance is why we do certain things. The reason why somebody drinks concoction, or all these funny concoctions, they put all sorts of things there and you go up with it in your mind. Once I drink it, I feel strong, I feel healthy. But you don't know what the damage it's doing to your liver. You don't know the long-term effects to have on your kidneys. So this is time for us to re-educate people. You put stuff in you, and you don't know for you, yes, it makes you high, it makes you happy. Your malaria disappears immediately. But the side effects of that, we're not talking about it. So sometimes we need a graphic representation of what it actually does to a child's system. Because what I read here was quite scary. The child totally, I mean, let me even find it. It totally affects the nervous system. And that in itself is something that any parent would be worried about.
And it's, you know, apart from alcohol, there are so many other things that we do because of lack of education and just not being enlightened or exposed. You find some people, especially parents, who, when they were growing up, it was tough for them. They grew up, let's say they grew up poor, and all of a sudden, you know, not all of a sudden, but as adults, they've worked hard and they've earned a lot of money, and they want to give their children all that they did not have when they were growing up. And we now have children who are obese. We have children who are allowed to eat everything and anything at any time. And it's to show that we have arrived. Look at us. I see our children. You know, those are the things that sometimes we ask, do parents need a license for parenting? Like, you need to come to a parenting school so that you understand some of these things. Many parents, especially African parents, they do a good job of, you know, the moral side. premarital sex, they'll teach you how to take care of a home, but things about your body, a lot of us don't know it. And so we pass on to our children habits and illnesses and sicknesses that, you know, they shouldn't be struggling with in their
a child can finish. So let me give a graphic representation of what you just said. So you can afford a pack of pizza.
Yes.
You buy a full pack of pizza, and because you can afford 3 boxes of pizza, you have 3 children, you give each child a box apart. So
because for you, we have arrived now.
because we can afford it. So each child takes 2 slices. You know, you can't finish it, to take it later. No, it's okay, it's yours, just take it. You give them a whole bottle of soft drink, and then they're happy, they feel good, and they get candy after that, and they get all sorts of things, and you feel like, yes, we can afford it.
So yesterday we had a doctor who came here and was talking about diabetes, and we find that in children now. The other day I went somewhere and there was this child struggling to keep up with the rest of the family, you know? And when they got to, it was a children's thing, and when they got there, he was eating all sorts of things. The mother was there, all the other siblings were eating the same thing, but they were not as his size. And the reason, maybe he has other things that he's dealing with internally, and that woman just needs someone to educate her. Yeah. She also needs to put herself in a position where she needs to understand more. So those things is, for me, in Nigeria, is a lot. It has a lot to do with lack of exposure and education.
Let me take
I think that shows like this and conversations like this will go a long way.
We're going to bring in our guests in a moment just to shed more light on it. But let me take this call. Ibrahim, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I think why all this is happening is a bad parenting. Let me put it that way. Because I remember while growing up, my father, as a person, he will tell you if a person is having alcohol in it, he's never going to use it. So his own was that if he can't drink an alcohol, so why should he be rubbing it on his body? So, and after all of us grew up being like that. Though after a while, he changed his mind and started using pill that contains alcohol in it. But the fact there is this, if it has been made clear to this person that alcohol is not good for young people, then I think it should be okay for all of us to actually do good.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I mean, I've shared this story again, lots of this story. I've shared them several times. Where when I was growing up as a teenager and I started living with my brother's wife, she indoctrinated me into alcohol. She didn't want them to teach me outside how to drink alcohol. She taught me how to mix drinks.
How old were you?
I think I had just turned 21. I was 18 going on 19. Now, you don't get to drink until you're 21. That's the right age. But I was an adult 18. I just felt, listen, let me just show you. So she introduced me to Corona Extra, all the various things. I mean, and she even showed me how to sort of think at parties. You ask for the drink you want. Don't go and collect anybody's drink because they'll put something inside for you. So she told me exactly what to ask for. Ask for this little bit of vodka, little bit of orange juice, you mix this, and that's your fine. She taught me various things. And when I went out, I was equipped because I knew so much about alcohol. I wasn't, yes, there was a phase where you drink, you feel like you're cool, but you're able to stop because you got the information from your house. They didn't teach you out. You're not trying to prove a point to Mariam. In fact, you're teaching Mariam because you know. So nobody's going to tell you, they can't bamboozle you to come and take this because you have information. You have information. So that equipment helped me in alcohol.
That's why it's important that we have a child-to-parent relationship. You know, a lot of us grew up without having this one-on-one conversations with our parents. Our parents didn't know how to get us to talk about things. Till today, I've never sat down to discuss alcohol with my mom or sex or nothing. In fact, go and give your life to Christ. I know if she has that way, she'll tell me again, BC, you're doing too much. Go and, settle and all that. So for me, it's very important that you start having this conversation. So let your children understand that you are there as their friend. And it will be good that their first times for trying things like this is done with you, where you can have control and explain to them how to do it and how not to do it. How did I learn how to drink alcohol? I was in the university at the time, and then we heard stories of people going to parties, and then they'll spike their drinks, and then they have their way with them. The boys will have their way with them. Exactly. So we told ourselves, we're 3 in the room. We told ourselves we're going to buy alcohol today. We drink it and see how we act after we have taken it. So, yes, not our threshold. Know if we can go out and drink or we stay away from it. And that was how we started drinking alcohol. And till today, I've never shared with my father the first time I ever had. He never even cared to ask me and all that. But our children are more curious right now. They want to know. And in the little conversations, even no matter how stupid it is, give give them a listening ear so that when the big things come up, they'll be free enough to discuss with you. Mommy, when can I try this? When should I try this? And don't be that kind of parent that we had before that will shut those kind of things down and plead the blood of Jesus. That's not what will work for the children now. Leave the blood of Jesus alone first and focus on the conversation.
Don't leave
if
the
you
blood
need
of Jesus.
help, get help. No, not to shut them down from the conversation. Have it with them. Blood, they work in your own.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll bring in somebody to help us shed more light on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So to join the conversation, we have with us a lawyer, mediator, pastor, former company secretary, mobile producer, Nigeria. He's with us, Mr. Yemi Akinsanya. Welcome to the show. I'll call Pastor Yemi Akinsanya. Welcome to the show, sir. Good to have you. So before you came on, we're talking about this really painful video that went viral recently, where a little child drinking alcohol, and the conversation morphed into, you know, how to have conversation with children, how to parent better, what time to start talking about alcoholism. And I also like to juxtapose that with a recent viral video of, is it Catholic bishop that was saying that alcohol isn't really bad, it's just you have to take it in moderation. I think it was recently, somebody said it recently. But the point is that raising children, parenting in these times where they are constantly being exposed to the worst vices. I mean, just yesterday, a video went viral. A young guy, sex tape was leaked, and you're thinking to yourself, what is this world turning to? So I hate to bombard you with so much, but I like to, where do we start from? How do we rewind and then, you know, begin to repace ourselves?
It's a very difficult thing to speak about in even 3 hours. But I'll say this. The beginning is establishing authority. Establishing authority, establishing order in the home. And knowing when to start training children to recognize authority and order. I've often said to especially young parents that it's very disheartening when you come into a home and you visit them and you say, oh, please, can you put on the TV? They say, Junior has broken it. A Junior has done this. Or you look at the table is bare. Oh, they had to clear it because Junior, you know, Junior is this. And I say to myself, the Junior is just about 3 years old. And at that time, Junior is already in control. It's already the authority. And that is where it starts. Children must be taught authority. I was told many years ago, I don't know if it's still true, but they said that, you know, you watch all these wonderful Alsatian police dogs that are trained. And someone said to me that, do you know that the intelligence of that Alsatian dog is not higher than the intelligence of a 2-year-old child? And that tells me that a lot of parents, especially modern parents, grossly underestimate the intelligence of the children and the ability of the children to conform to training or to instruction. And we just end up bringing up children. First of all, we treat them like toys. We treat them like babies. And then, of course, in these modern days, when we are all so anglicized, so westernized, we think it's a great thing for us to ignore those boundaries. So I believe that first things first, in the home, the children, without compromise, must be introduced to order and authority.
Let's build on that a minute, because establishing order and authority sometimes to a parent is spanking, being forceful. And what we learn from modern therapists and coaches that don't raise your voice at these children. Don't spank these children. You know, you're better off having conversations with them. But how else can you establish authority without maybe speaking, spanking? Like, that's a traditional way.
You know, some friends of mine and I had this conversation recently, and we said, you know what? Take a survey of some of the most successful men, some of the most successful women in society, especially at almost any age, and then ask them about their background. And you'll find that 90% of them will tell you how they were spanked, how their mothers spoke to them, how they learned to understand the mother's eye and the father's strength and things like that. And so I find that a lot of modern theories are misleading. Children are more intelligent than you give them credit for. Now, you can talk to a 10-year-old, you can talk to an 8-year-old, but you can't talk to a 2-year-old. They have the intelligence, but they have not acquired the skills to process, a lot of articulation. So what do? You teach them the same way as you train that Alsatian dog. You have to teach them to know that when this is good, you are rewarded. When that is bad, you get a little bit of pain to it. And that's why we use the word spanking, not beating. Spanking. Spanking is not beating. You don't have to be cruel and wicked, but you have to be consistent with your authority. Once the children understand in the house who is in charge, that they are not in charge. Now, a friend of mine many years ago said she called her daughters, although she was talking of preteens and teens, and she said, look, listen, I don't care what they tell you on Oprah. In this house, I am not your friend. I am your mother. And my word rules. Take it or leave it. So that is the first thing that needs to be done. Then, with that authority in place, the second thing is you have to live by example. You can't spend your time coming back late at 1 a.m. and, drinking in the house, and you yourself are getting drunk and tipsy. And a lot of young parents are like that. And the children are watching you. Remember, they have very malleable minds. It is important that parents themselves must model in front of their children the values that they want them to have. If you want your children to be prayerful, let them see you praying. If you want them to be drunks, they'll watch you being drunk. You may think they don't notice you're drunk, but they know. Remember, I said at the beginning, they're more intelligent
and we give them credit.
Than we give them credit for.
So let me ask this, because I've been seeing some videos on social media lately where, you mentioned how to train an Alsatian dog.
Yep.
There's this video I saw recently where a man was trying to model to the baby, his baby, I think about a 2-year-old, what he will do to him if he falls over instead of learning to calm down.
Okay.
So the baby was still learning to walk. And then he picked up a doll and threw the doll over and picked up a cane and showed the baby, if you come like this without coming like this, I will give this. He didn't say a word, he just demonstrated. And before we knew it, the baby struggled and found his way to calm down instead of just falling over. So that brings me to modeling, like you were talking about. Now, we understand that it's very difficult for especially modern parents who are trying to make a living to spend that much time with their children. And so you see people going out and coming back late, especially if the two parents are hustling and just trying to earn a living. How do we, place that alongside trying to raise these children with proper authority? How can a modern parent manage and balance it?
If I told you that it was not an issue, I would be insincere. But I believe that in every stage of life, in every stage in society, we have our challenges and we have to find our ways of meeting it. First of all, intrinsically, again, I'd only like to go to the beginning, and I take the opportunity to say this. A lot of our native parents, a lot of our Nigerian parents now have taken to the practice of giving their children foreign names, and it seems as if it's part of your civilization that, oh, what's your daughter's name? Oh, Mandy, and the moment that mentality is there, it affects you. Secondly, I want to say this. It's very tough because, life is hard. The economy is tough. But I believe that at the time children are being brought up, there has to be a measure of sacrifice. Gone are the days when they say it takes a village to raise a child. Now, we don't have that any longer. So somehow I believe that a father and a mother need to decide between them. They have to balance it. And that's why these days we can't afford to have 10 children any longer. We can't afford to have 7 children. In the days of our parents, if you had a family of 5, you're small. I mean, you're more than 7, we're 9. I mean, we had friends who were in homes of 11. But I think father and mother have to decide. You have to really plan it strategically. Who are you going to get? If you're going to find some older niece or nephew or someone whom you're going to look at, or who's going to come to the house, along with maybe your housemaid or whatever it is, you have to plan it. Someone or the other, whether the man or the woman, if you can't afford to do otherwise, someone has to agree to lower their career objectives, their career ambitions, because you can't leave the children to be brought up by a housemaid or a steward or whatever it is.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guests here with us. Tope, you had a question?
Yes, so one of the things that I've enjoyed this conversation with you, you mentioned authority, you mentioned order, you mentioned consistency and modeling right. And for some people watching right now, they already have kids that are like, they feel like they missed they've already missed that first few years. And there's that struggle on how can I undo the damage? How can I correct the situation?
Well, first of all, it is never too late. It is never too late. Once you know where you've missed it, start from scratch. Don't apologize for it, because the moment you apologize for it, you're saying, I've done something bad. Then the other person feels a reason to either judge you or condemn you or not accept. But if you know what is right, start doing what is right and stop doing what is wrong. And above all, when you have begun to do that with the children, sometimes have the humility to even say to a child, you know, I allowed you to do this, but you know, I now realize that maybe that wasn't the best thing for you. And the child will say, why? And you tell them candidly. The thing is that you must be able to speak to children with sincerity, tell them the truth. Especially modern children, they are being exposed to a lot more information, more ideas, many things are happening, and they know things. So don't try to speak in parables to them. Don't try to gloss over
Let me use an
things.
example. Miriam, I'll come to you. For example, a child, maybe a 14-year-old child is using drugs, you know, and you're a father, you feel like, okay, maybe I should have done something better. How do you retrace your steps based on what you just said? Like, okay, I have messed up. I didn't pay attention. I was working all over the place. Now you're in drugs. You're an addict, and the child doesn't want to listen to you. Where do we start from? How do you then retrace your steps to help that child?
Well, you say, how do you retrace your steps? I think it's really more about how do you help that child?
Yeah, because
That's it. And the first thing is to understand that there are 2 levels of helping that child. Let me start with the second level. If the child is addicted, it's probably the kind of thing that requires professional help.
Yeah.
And there are people who are trained to deal with that. Yeah. But from a parental friend point of view, the first thing first is to try to find out from that child without judging. Why are you doing this? What does it give to you? And don't make it center around you. How can you do this with all I've done for you? The way I brought you here, how can you do this to me? You know, don't let it be about you. Let it be about the child. Try to understand the child. Oh, how do you do this? Why do you take it? What does it do for you? Really? Tell me a little bit more. So, let the child feel secure and safe to speak with you. It's important.
Talking about being secure and safe to speak to you, that's why I would say I'm a big advocate for parents being friends. I used to think like you said earlier, where you say to a child, I'm your mother, I'm not your friend. But, you know, raising my children, a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, I realized that friendship is also important, that there are some messages I can only relay as a friend. And I'm asking this because I know that, you know, maybe old school or the way we used to see things may be a bit different right now. I feel that there are some things I can tell my child, I can insist as a mother at a certain age, but for a 10-year-old, there are things, that conversations we have because we are friends. He opens up to me about things and I can address them.
I'll give you a life example of being friends and being in authority. When I was in secondary school, I was a school prefect. I was in charge of religious services. And my duty was to take attendance at the Sunday service and to mete out discipline to those who were absent. And sometimes the people who were absent, especially the very senior boys, some of them were my friends. And I told them we're friends, but I have a duty to do. That's what I'm saying with parents as well. Be their friend, but let them still know
Who's in charge?
you are in charge. That must never be. They need it. Because helping them to deal with authority at home also prepares them to handle authority outside of the home.
Yeah.
Let them be your friend in the sense that they can confide in you. And one of the ways in confiding in you, I learned one thing, and I always share this with a lot of my younger friends. I thank God, and I say that without being unduly sanctimonious, I thank God that I've learned to listen to my children say anything to me without expressing any shock. No shock. Really? Oh, you did that? Okay. But you know,
Which is very typical.
how can you, you know, I heard something like Lord of Jesus, Holy Ghost fire. The moment you do that, the child clamps up and goes out. But I learned to listen. I used to say to my people, I like to sit down with them, watch what they're watching. I don't put up the TV. I don't try to, I watch what they're watching. I see what they're doing, see, and we can talk about it. And after a while, they learn to look to you for guidance. So, Dad, what do you think? Are you sure you're interested in what I think? That's my usual preface. Are you
Do you
sure
have
you're
any
interested in what I'm thinking?
regrets? Because I mean, sometimes we new parents, we try to judge our parents like they did not, what they did was just forceful. They did not, you know, we trained ourselves like all their techniques really did not work. It was just aggression all the way, you know. But I would like to just hear your story. Would you say that your technique worked for you, and do you have any child regrets, you know, in raising the kids in a certain way?
I know it sounds a bit ideal and a bit boastful, but I really have no regrets. And to a very large extent, I believe my children have been raised the way I was raised as well. The one difference, though, is that in the case of my own childhood, my father was not as hands-on and conversational with us in the early days. My mother covered that ground. But in my own experience as a parent, one thing that we've always had is we've always been very, very communicative with the children, hear what they say. I mean, I always tell people today that the only reason I got on Facebook was to make sure that I was part of Facebook, saw what they were going through, and discuss with them. And sometimes I'm the one who forwards to them some of the outrageous things. What do you think of this? And usually they tell you what they think, and they say, and so, Dad, what do you think? And like I said, my usual preface is, do you want to hear what I think?
You really want to hear what I think?
Let me throw in this question, so because it's so sad that our society seems to be going more savage and more greedy and more, there's so much carnage, bloody, gruesomeness. And I sincerely worry for my children, you know. I worry about, I'm doing a good job, like I'm praying at night, parenting during the day, and then I'm going to release them into this society. Like, we can't isolate them forever. So, as a society, beyond my individual parenting, what can we do to protect the next generation?
Being on television, which is very, very public, I am a little nervous to say one or two of the things that I want to say. I thank God for the development of the film industry in Nigeria and Nollywood and the rest of that. I'm very pleased with them. I've seen many things. But I believe that a lot of emphasis on the dark arts, the reintroduction of all the going to the native man and doing all sorts of magic, sensationalizing it and giving it a sense of, attractiveness, has also, in my opinion, encouraged a lot of curiosity in society, a desire to try to explore those things. Let's go and find out, You go to, you watch a Nollywood movie and somebody says, oh yes, something happens and two ladies are fighting, everything through fire. And these things are fictionalized, they are sensationalized, but at the same time, they plant seeds. So, however, I'll say this though, that if you build the right foundation, it gives the children a bit of buffer, insulation. So lay the foundation at home, let them know your values, pray with them, share your thoughts. Don't talk down to the children, talk to them, discuss with them, hear them, but I'll always emphasize this, don't ever lose your position and your authority as parent.
I think we can wrap up on that. Thank you very much. I like that. Don't ever lose your position. So you're not adverse to friendship,
no,
but not in this. But you must be friends with the authority.
With the authority
and order. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure. We'll have to bring it back.
Yes.
I think there's a lot we can get with you, a full show with you, and take different aspects of life. It would be good because we like to hear from people like you who have passed this street that we are passing and teach us. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure having you.
My pleasure.
On the show. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we'll be having very soon on the show the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University, Oye-Ekiti, Fuye, Professor Abayomi Fashinom, and he'll be our guest today to talk about what he's done so far in the university, considering the fact that ASUU might be going on strike very soon. What are his thoughts on that? And we'll talk about other accomplishments he's had in the last 1 year. Welcome to the show, VC. Hello, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the show.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So you sound like you're in school, moderator. Okay, but it's all good. I'll take it. So you've been a vice chancellor for a whole year. And while as a vice chancellor, I'm hearing that ASUU might be going on strike. They said the demands haven't been met, that all the federal government have been doing so far is just promises and no implementation. In your thoughts, what can the university do to ensure that the school, the children, the students don't lose totally, even if ASUU goes on strike?
Well, basically, I can assure you that ASUU and government will resolve the matter over time. They will soon call ASUU for talks, and I'm very sure the issue will be resolved. Because of the millions of Nigerian students that will be affected. I'm very sure the two sides will reach an amicable settlement on this matter. It will not happen. The strike will not happen. I can assure you by God's grace.
Okay, sir. So I heard that Foye was one of the schools that didn't merge sessions as a result of the COVID-19. How did you achieve that, sir?
Well, we in the university, we are very hardworking. At Senate, we agreed that we should work around the clock and make sure that we don't lose a session. But it came with a lot of sacrifice on the part of our lecturers, and as a management team, we also have to give and take certain things. For example, we felt that as many people don't want to go on their leave, we can defer their leave. We did that, and during the Christmas, we also give people 2 weeks break to do their market. So there was a kind of motivation coming in that actually assisted us in stabilizing the system to ensure that we put in our best. And of course, we didn't lose any session because we were working throughout, and then there were a lot of motivation sent in for the lecturers. And so we were able to key in, and so of course, they agreed that it was a kind of agreement between the lecturers and management. At Senate, we all agreed that we should work in the interest of the students and, of course, for the interest of the university.
Right. Mariam?
Okay, I just wanted to ask specifics concerning this COVID. Let me just quiz you a bit more. How did you keep the numbers? How did you maintain social distancing and those things? Because those were one of the reasons why many of the universities didn't want their students back. How did you make sure that social distances were maintained in hostels? Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. I can hear you now, yes. Go
okay. I said just a bit further on the COVID-19 and how you were able to, continue school, even though many schools, many universities couldn't. I just wanted to find out, how were you able to maintain social distances in hostel, in the university, in the lecture halls during that period?
Well, I think what we did was we set up a committee that handled that. The committee ensured that there was an enforcement throughout, and the state government too also came, and we also were teaching online. There was a blended teaching kind of a thing. The students were divided into groups as advised by the state government committee on COVID. We also have our own committee on COVID, and we ensured that there was total enforcement. This was actually adhered to strictly. And we also did some kind of sensitization talk to all our students. Of course, with the early class that is more than 100 go online for teaching. So there was kind of blended way of teaching, and we have to observe all the protocols, public protocols on campus. And the committee was monitoring from time to time to ensure enforcement and make sure. In fact, I would say 90% of our students have been vaccinated because we did a kind of sensitization campaign for them to do this. Okay. So we're on top, and we have not lost any student to COVID or whatever in terms of, we have not recorded fatalities in terms of COVID on campus. Okay. God has really helped us.
Okay, happy to hear that, sir. I know that when it comes to universities, they are the first choice, and then those that are second choice. 4 years is relatively new in terms of being an institution, yet statistics is showing that it's one of the most chosen institutions. And I'd like you to probably remarket yourself. Why are people choosing you? What do you think is making students consider your institution as an option for them?
Yeah, thank you very much. One is, of course, let me say that we have the 5th most subscribed university in Nigeria out of our 170-something universities. 5th most subscribed. That's number one. Number 2 is the fact that we have a stable calendar. Since I came on board for the last 1 year, our calendar has been stable. There's peace on campus. There's stability. 3 is the fact that we introduced some new courses. Pharmacy, basic medical sciences, environmental sciences. You will agree with these are lucrative courses. In fact, in the next 2 months, medicine will come on board to complement pharmacy and basic medical sciences. So with these new courses coming on board, everybody wants to come to FOE. And the fact that there's peace on campus, and we are very qualitative quality lecturers that teach us, so we're experienced, we're well exposed, international scholars, So with all this, let me say is that we have about 125 people on professorial grade lecturers, about 74 professors, and 54 readers with a lot of senior lecturers. So those are the factors that actually make people want to subscribe to us. And as a federal university too, our fees is not so high. So these are some of the things that actually make people subscribe to us.
Okay, sir. Can you share some of the challenges you've met since you came on board? Because it's seeming like everything is just so easy for you. Can you share with us some of the things you had to overcome in this job?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, I want to give thanks to God Almighty. With God on your side, things will be very easy. Minus God, we are nothing. We are nothing. And God has been there for us. That's number one. But some of the challenges are so many students, students with their problems. We are not residential. We have very few people stay in the hostels. Students have issues with them in the community, but we have been able to resolve this because we have community relations committee. The Oloye in council, the king of Oye, we have a very good rapport with him. We set up a committee that work, some from our side, from his own side, and we have been working to monitor students. It's not that we don't have crisis, but what we do, and I will tell you, is that we are very proactive. Once we hear something, we nip it in the ball before it snowballs into a big crisis. So we're in very close contact, dialoguing with our students, with the unions, and with the community. So we work together. You see, when you talk and you judge and dialogue very well, you can prevent crisis. The most important is to prevent crisis before it occurs. And that's what we have been doing as a university. And that has been able to. So, some of the drivers of our vision, All
right, so finally, I know that my father-in-law was the Michael Oluwale Afolabi. He was going to set up your library when it started, when it started earlier. How is the library now?
That one from Ife.
Yes, from Ife, yes.
That fantastic about from Ife.
Yes.
I know very well.
Yes.
He laid a very good foundation for us. I want to give it to him. I was at one of the people that went. I led the team that when he died. I led the team to Ife to go and control with the wife. Let me say this. The foundation laid by Baba Falabi was actually what helped us. And since then, we have built on that foundation, we are consolidated, and things have been excellently. You see, once you build a very good foundation, of course, leave the rest. The Bible says, when the foundation is by what can the righteous do? This man laid the soul rest in perfect peace. He laid a very good foundation in our library. And you can come to our library, it's one of the best. I'm not posting, So, so once the foundation is right, you get it right.
Yes, we learned that the Institute is trying to start a Foundations Day concept, and this is a Foundations Day concept, and this is something that was practiced in the University of Ibadan that you went through, that you're a product of. What is this Foundations Day concept about? Could you explain it to us?
Yeah, actually, you know that the university was at a particular point in time. Our university, with other 10 universities, was established in 2011 in February, to be precise. So what we're trying to do is to actually come back and use that February at the time the university was established, and use at the day we're going to be doing a convocation, we're going to be having foundation lectures. Everything surrounds the day the university was established. And that's what we want. We want to institute as a day that we'll be doing a convocation, and then we're having foundation lecture, Founders Day, and that's just the concept. There's nothing, we want to make, we're proud that our university was established in February 2011, and so we want to preserve that legacy. So we have invited some people, the Vice Chancellor of one of the university, First Generation University, to come and institute that for us with Chief Afe Babalola. They will come. And then, of course, they will institute their Founders Day or Foundation Day, where every year in February, our convocation day will be in February 11.
Okay, I have a call. Etu from Mina. Good morning, Etu. Are you there?
Good morning, Morayo.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Morayo. I want to appreciate your program.
Thank you, sir.
I am calling from Mina, Etu Umar. Well, we want to appeal with federal government that please, they should talk with the ASU. We don't want to see any strike now. Our children are actually suffering. And I also want to appreciate your guest. He spoke very well. So please, we are begging that we don't want to see any strike now. They should sit down with ASU. Let them give them what they can give them, Some of us were expecting that when Buhari administration came in, they would sit down and sort out all this issue of ASU. So please, they should try to sort out all this issue. Moran, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Etu. How is Babangida doing? All right, thank you very much. Yes, please, you're going to ask a question?
Yes, so some people are asking what else should they look out for with this university, sir?
Well, when I came on board, let me also say this, that I was the former Deputy Vice Chancellor of the university for 4 years. Deputy Vice Chancellor administration for 4 years in this university. So I understand the terrain very well. So when I came on board, I put forward 20-point agenda. And the 20-point agenda touched virtually every aspect of the university, starting from IGL to university branding, staff welfare, university ventures, ICT, new programs. So for me, we are moving forward to the next level. In the last 1 year, we have achieved so much. Time will not permit to enumerate some of this we have achieved. Our ideas has increased. We have new programs. We now have 11 faculties as against 8. The College of Medicine is going to start in May. In fact, we have started. Let me say the College of Medicine have started. NUC advanced visits, they came and they have given us the nod. What they are coming for in the next is resource verification. And when they come, they will look at the facilities again and they will ask us to admit students in May. So we have ventures on campus. We have our bakery, we have our press. We virtually want to be doing things on our own and also service our community. We don't want to go outside and be doing things using our money. We want our staff, our industry, we want to create industry more on campus that will serve the community, that will serve the state, if possible, serve this country. Wow. So that's where we're going. We believe that if we do things well, the university serves as a point where, as an avenue where it can provide service to the community, to the nation, to the state, and to the world. That's our vision. And I think the Lord is helping us.
Thank you very much, sir.
The 20-point agenda, we have virtually done 90% of the 20-point agenda that we started as a vision, because we have the right set of drivers who are driving this vision.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure having you, sir. Thank you very much. We wish you the best as you achieve more in the federal government. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right,
have a nice day.
Have a nice day, sir. All right, so yeah.
I'm usually used to seeing VCs, looking
elderly.
Elderly, white hair. So he looks really good.
See how he's just really
very passionate.
They have energy. Everything at the fingertips. He's aware. He's on ground. He knows what's going on. That's what I mean. We need more of young people like this to take these kind of key roles. Our boat cruises this weekend.
Yes, we need to remind everyone. Get your
the Valentine's boat cruise. Don't forget, the ladies of Your View and I will be having a boat cruise titled An Evening with the Ladies of Your View. It promises to be an exciting evening of lots of fun. To participate, please call the number 08138590726. Let me take that number again. It's not on the screen. 08138590726. To get your tickets so that we can see you on Saturday. I think it starts at 3 p.m. We'll be there on boat. I'm not sure how long the road ride is, but there's going to be lots of music, dance, 3-course meal. I can't wait to see the food. I hear the food is going to be great. I can't wait.
We will be just
talking, and Bisi will be anchoring us on a hot, Valentine topic. Steamy Valentine topic.
Steamy.
Yeah.
Steamy.
I'll just be quiet. I'll just be like,
steamy on the book.
I'm reading my Bible here. I'm reading my Bible. Bisi will be handling the conversation. That's all we can take on the show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.